Well, should we get started?
Sure. Good, you're there. Shall we get started maybe with some introductions?
Yep.
Okay, well, I can get started with that. Thank you everyone for being here with us, with Junichi and I, to talk about Maneki Neko. It's had a great response, and also thank you for Museum for inviting us to do this presentation, and for the whole team, Stacy, Kelly, to be here in the first edition and on the first day. So it feels like a very special thing. My name is Patricia Cue, and I am a professor emeritus in graphic design from San Diego State University. I taught graphic design there for 11 years and retired a year and a half ago. I have worked my whole life as a graphic designer, and also done some research. I'm really interested in the cultural connections that graphic design has to objects and to vernacular design. So this theme of Maneki Neko seemed like a perfect fit for me. I am originally from Mexico, so it's another interesting part of this talk is that you will see a designer from Japan and a Mexican designer comparing notes. So it's not a very usual combination, but we've really had a great time preparing this together and sharing notes about each other's culture. Junichi and I met about 2 years ago when he arrived in San Diego, and we overlapped at San Diego State only for about a semester. Touch, and it's been great doing this. And also forgot the connection that I have with Mingei is that I was on the board of the museum, familiar with their exhibitions, their programs, and love the work that they do. So Junichi, take it from there.
All right. Hi. My name is Junichi. I'm originally from Japan, but spent most of my adult life here in the States. After studying graphic design and architecture, Rhode Island School of Design, I've been designing and making many different things, from bags to clothes to buildings. I have run a permaculture farm and restaurants and some business incubators. And I have also been teaching art and design in different parts of the world for past 15 years before joining faculty at San Diego State. My sort of research or my focus is wherever I go, I try to make a situation where art and design can evolve and make the world a better place. So I guess, Patricia, are you ready to start?
Yeah, let me just tell you a little bit how we structured this presentation. So we're going to do it in two parts. Junichi is going to first talk about the meaning of Maneki Neko in Japanese culture. He has a very close connection to it. So his story from that point of view, and also he's going to talk about the history and background of the cat, and which is incredible. I had no idea. And then I'm going to share with you my curiosity about it from more of a semiotic or science and symbols point of view. We're going to geek out a little bit on that. I didn't grow up knowing Maneki Neko in Mexico. It really wasn't very, at least in my days, wasn't very popular. So I will be interrupting very often. That's my job, to interrupt him, ask questions while he goes along. So two of us, and we're going to ask you to show us your maybe a Maneki Neko that you might have around your house, you know, like this very tiny one that I have, or a lucky object. And so you might want to start thinking about what you're going to show us. But for now, it's Junichi's turn to tell you what he knows about Maneki Neko.
All right. So I'm gonna share a screen with you. Oops, hold on. Can you all see this okay?
Yep, it's good. Junichi looks good.
All right. Today, as a companion to the Maneki Neko exhibition organized by Mingei International Museum, Patricia and I will talk about the history and the meaning of this traditional craft, as well as its design and the presence as an icon in contemporary culture. So what is Maneki Neko? So Maneki means to invite, beckon, or call. And Neko means cat. So it's a cat that calls on you. First, we'll look at how Maneki Neko are living among us today in Japan and beyond. Then we will talk about the history and the meaning of this traditional craft, as well as its design and influence on contemporary culture. So this is how you—
Can I just first stop you for a second?
Yep.
So this idea of beckoning, first of all, it's kind of a strange word to beckon. I learned it recently. I didn't know what it meant, but it's interesting how the cat is actually beckoning, right? It's raising its little paw and doing this. And I found out that in every culture, we all beckon differently. So it's, maybe you all through the screen can show us how you beckon. I believe in America, people do this, right? Or do this with their finger. And I come from Mexico. Doing this is offensive in Mexico. It's like, you're in trouble, mister. Or you do it, if you do this, it's for an animal, it's not for a person. So how do you beckon, Junichi?
It goes
like that. So you do your whole paw.
Yep.
I do this. Yeah. So I think that's already an interesting marker about this very unique object.
Yeah. So if you been to Japan, or if you seen scenes from Japan, this is how the Maneki Neko is shows up in everyday life. Sitting at the counter of a restaurant, or sitting outside of a store like this. These are rather old and big ones, sitting at this ramen shop in Japan. And now it's sort of taken on a completely different life. And this is a huge one for a shopping mall in Japan. And now it gets bigger. This is an entrance to a sort of a Maneki Neko avenue in Japan. But now still, this is a traditionally Maneki Neko that you would see in Japan. And now Starbucks has its own Maneki Neko in Japan. So if you go to a Starbucks in Japan, this is the one you will see.
So in America, we usually see them in restaurants or in Asian businesses. They're very much associated with that. And people, if I tell people, oh, we're giving a presentation about Maneki Neko, you hear people tell you, oh, the Chinese cat. And they're not Chinese, they're Japanese. So I take that in Japan, they are present in every kind of business, not only restaurants.
Right. So my wife and I have a store and a studio / restaurant / bar / theater and school in Tokyo called Utility Works. And it's located in this little tiny 100-year-old house in the midst of high-rise buildings. It looks like this on the street. So we make clothes, bags, housewares, stuff with business partners in New York, and we sell them there. And many of these items sold in Tokyo store are actually designed and made by us and our neighbors that we teach how to make these things. We also do a theater, movie production with the neighbors. And we also, our store has become sort of a gathering place for all kinds of people, from 5-year-old to 80 years old. Some are students, some are businessmen, retired policemen, doctors, all kinds of people. And we take everything we make and do seriously, and sometimes spend all night critiquing and debating about a lot of things. We also make food and cook and share with our neighbors. But we do have a Maneki Neko, so in front of our store, and that's our cat has become sort of a icon for our neighborhood. And I will introduce you to this where this cat comes from later on. It's a historical Maneki Neko. And now the Maneki Neko is taking on a completely different sort of look in various parts of the world. This one is dressed up in a different outfit from a traditional Maneki Neko. And some are very animated and very comical. And some are inflatable. And they're not always 3-dimensional. Some of them are 2-dimensional signage, posters. So they do take different forms. And now some of the Maneki Neko are actually used as a brand. This is the Maneki Neko karaoke shop in Japan, and that's popping up everywhere. This is the Maneki Neko Cafe.
Can I ask you, can we go back to your other slide with the I find this fascinating because I think it's very unique to Japan, talking about how design uses Maneki Neko, and it's stick a microphone on its paw, and now it's emblematic of a karaoke bar. And you know, in the West we would think, well, does that mean that it's a lucky karaoke bar, or is it that I'm going to find a cat in there? And in Japan, I find that in the visual culture of Japan, it's so much more comfortable with ambiguity, right? It's having a cat with a microphone. It adds this touch of cuteness. Cuteness is everywhere. You can brand a bank. You can brand the Olympic Games. Why not use it to brand a karaoke bar? Mm-hmm. And here, at least in America, in branding, meanings embedded in a logotype or in a mark need to be very clear and very definitive and tell you exactly what you're going to expect. So I find that it's fascinating that it has been turned into a brand.
Yeah. And you know, they also started making this product based on the Maneki Neko. This is a food, different kind of food. This is also branded with Maneki Neko. And now some of the Maneki Neko are starting to become something else. It's not this one's not a figurine, but it's a pen. And these pens are supposed to help you with different things, like being smarter. And G-Shock introduced G-Shock Maneki Neko watch. And this one, if you push a button, the Maneki Neko shows up on the screen. And there's a bunch of money spread around the screen. And this is a little symbol that many people would recognize as a Maneki Neko. And they have Maneki Neko train in Tokyo. And now, so there's also a do-it-yourself Maneki Neko where you can buy and paint yourself and make your own personalized Maneki Neko. And some take it really far. And they even have underwears that's inviting whatever you wish to invite.
So,
yep.
Can I ask you a question about the underwear?
Yep.
So how in Japan it's associated with good luck? There's a temple. It's irreverent to put it on underwear, or doesn't matter?
I think this is supposed to be a surprise or joke, or you know, it's a semi-joke because you know, if you take off your pants and this appears in front of different people react differently. And So it's not a religious or it's not a superstitious thing, but it kinda. And there's a lot of the ambiguous wish in Japanese culture. They kind of know that these things are not real, but they also don't want to take it too lightly either, in case it's real, right? So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So there is a connection between the utility of the product and what's the Maneki Neko on.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now you can buy a mechanized Maneki Neko in Amazon. And so the Manikineko is now all over the world. This one is the American Manikineko with the blue eyes with a dollar sign. And this one
And
is in.
it has also a glittery bib, right?
It
So
might be a tarf, like a fake tarf.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a dollar symbol. And
Yeah.
I was reading that the coin actually appeared in Maneki Neko after the war, when the whole focus of life was on industrialization and making money. That before it had maybe a carp, fish, or didn't have anything. But after the war, it was either a Japanese coin and in this case, an American coin. So it's not very
Capitalism,
subtle about
right?
its message.
The capitalistic symbol. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a capitalistic Maneki Neko.
Yeah. And they appear in different cultures. This one is in Malaysia, and they start to take on a different look. And this one is in Vietnam. And the Italian brand, Sony, that make these dresses, also have their own version of Manikineko, decked out in their fabric. Baccarat, the French jeweler, they also have their Manikineko. And I think when these things happen, the meaning of Manikineko start taking on a different path. I don't think people would put this on the street or in front of their stores, but it's something personal. During the football boom, a lot of different Manikineko appeared, holding different flags and colors. And now this one is a poster for a movie made in Argentina in 2015. And it's not about Maneki Neko, but it's about people that live in that building.
You know, I was reading about that movie, and it's not about Maneki. One of the characters in the movie has sort of this manic desire for collecting Maneki Neko, but the whole movie is about the fate or bad luck that everyone in that building has. So the relationship is a little bit tangential to the film, but it's an Argentinian film,
Right.
so it's not a Japanese film.
And this one's Greek film titled Maneki Neko, came out in 2017. And this is a Spanish film. And this one is, I haven't seen it, so I can't really speak about it, but I think it talks about Maneki Neko in a sort of a Yakuza format.
It's a really, really cool animated short, and it's about the story that you're about to tell us. It's worth watching.
So when you go to the exhibition, you'll notice that some Maneki Neko have the left hand up, and some Maneki Neko have a right hand up, and some of them have both hands up. And they mean something. So when the Maneki Neko with the left hand is up, they're supposed to bring people or customer into your home or your shop. When you have a right hand, it means it's going to bring you money or wealth. When you have a both hand, it's supposed to bring both. But some people believe that the one with the both hand were invented much later by greedy people and actually bring a bad luck. So be careful. And the cat, the original Maneki Neko cat is supposed to be a tricolor cat, and tricolor cat genetically mostly female, and when the male tricolor cat are born, they're considered special, magical. So a lot of sailors back in the day used to carry one of these on their ship. So there might be some connection as to why the Maneki Neko is always taking on this, or the traditional ones take on this color of tricolor cat. So
I also read that cats in Japan have this sort of very binary meaning, that people either that they're either adored or feared, that they're these creatures that can be very good companions, they're mysterious, but then after a certain while they can turn on you and hurt you. And somehow this whole lore about the cat, I think it also has to do with the meaning that has been brought into it and how it has a limited life as a talisman too.
So as we can see in the ancient art and the literature in Japan, cats have had close relationship with people for centuries. By 1200, temples and libraries throughout Japan kept cats in their buildings to keep rats from destroying their books. So wealthy farmers, particularly those who grew silkworms, kept cats to keep rats away from the silk and the other harvests. But the cats were not easily accessible back then. And in the early 1600s, people began selling a poster of cats, hoping to scare the rats away from their storage buildings and homes. And that's probably where, that was probably the beginning of the Maneki Neko boom. But there are many stories about how Maneki Neko came to be. Every town in Japan claims to have the origin in their town. But I will share with you 3 stories, just to give you an idea of what kind of stories behind this Maneki Neko culture. So the one is Gotokuji. Gotokuji is in Tokyo near Shibuya. It's a temple, a Buddhist temple. And this guy, E. Naotaka, was born in 1590s and was a well-respected feudal lord. One day he was out hunting and happened to pass by this decrepit Gotokuji temple. And as he went past the temple, he noticed a cat waving and telling him to come into the temple. So he and his servants went in and was met by a monk. And the monk invited them in for some tea and stories. And as they sat inside, the weather turned into a severe storm. And after the storm passed, Nagaoka thanked the monk and also the cat, and later donated a large sum of money and made it his family temple. When the cat died, the monk buried it on the property, and they eventually built a meditation monument in remembrance of the cat. So if you go to Gotokuji now, you can see these Maneki Neko return. You can buy this cat at the temple, and people return them after good fortune have come to them, and then pick up another one. And our store is right next to Gotokuji temple, and that's where our cat came from. And to go to the temple, you get on this Maneki Neko cat from Shibuya, and then you can be part of the Maneki Neko. And another story is it relates to imadoyaki. It's a kind of pottery in Japan that was made in Tokyo area. And the cat made in this area were called marushime cats. The word marushime is said to mean taking in all the good luck. And if you look at marushime cat in the back, there's a logo, the circle with this cross. Cross means shime in Japan, and the circle is maru. Beginning in the late 1500s, potters gathered in this area, it's called Imado, and started potteries. This is one of the series of print by Hiroshige, created between 1854 and 56. 100 famous V of Edo. in this one, you can see the imago kiln in the foreground. Since then, they've been producing tools for tea ceremony, roof tiles, plant pots, and these figurines, and the cats. So this is Maneki cat. This is how the story goes. There was an old woman living in Imagawa area with a cat, and she loved the cat so much, but she was too poor to feed it properly. And because she loved the cat so much, she decided to let the cat go. That night, the cat appeared in her dream and said, make figurines in the image of me, and you will be rich. So the next morning, she went to the potters in the neighborhood and had the figurine made, and she began selling them in Asakusa Shrine. And it was a huge hit, and she lived happily ever after. We'll never know if the story is true, but according to the literature and the other records, there was a big Marishime cat boom in Tokyo around the 1850s. In this print, again by Hiroshige in 1852, you can see street vendors selling all kinds of goods. And on the top left corner, you can see cats being sold.
By the way, I wanted to just share this love for these ukiyo-e wooden Japanese prints. If you're a graphic designer, something you definitely need to look at there. This cross between posters and comics and infographics, they're fabulous, and you will see throughout the presentation.
So the last story I'm going to share with you it takes place in a temple called Jishoin. And Jishoin is in between Shinjuku and Toshima. And it had always been called Cat Temple before even this Maneki Neko boom. In 1477, there was a battle between two families in Tokyo. And during the battle, Dokan Ota, depicted here, a famous samurai who later built Tokyo Castle, was overpowered and got lost during the battle. Then a black cat appeared before him and led him to a Jishoin, where he was able to rest and regroup and eventually won the battle. When the cat died, Dokan built a statue of the cat for its spirit, and later became the inspiration for the Maneki Neko. So to understand Maneki Neko better, I would like to go back to ancient Japan. I think there's a connection. So Jomon people are the indigenous people of Japan. Many traditions and the beliefs in modern Japanese culture are said to have originated in the Jomon period. For example, the culture of gift giving. If you know any Japanese person, you probably received gift for no reasons, because that's what Japanese people like to do. Shintoism and anthropomorphism probably started in the Jomon period. So through much of their lives, still mystery, though much of their lives are still mystery, recent study with help of new technology give us much better picture of the way Jomon people lived. They were hunter-gatherers with highly developed understanding of their ecology. They were most likely a matriarchal society and possessed spiritual beliefs similar to that of Shintoism. They made and used pots like these every day.
Crazy.
And they also are prolific in making dogu, which is earthenware figures. Some are human-like, and others seems to be a mixture of human and animals. And there are a lot of theories as to why they made these things and what they meant. But we'll never know why they kept making these for over 10,000 years. But I think we can begin to understand the thinking through looking at Japanese culture since then. Throughout history, Japanese people have always enjoyed this idea that there are many unknown worlds around us, which we don't and are not meant to understand. Seen here is a wood print showing people trying to stop catfish from creating an earthquake. Catfish have been accused of creating earthquakes in Japan for centuries. So you can see these people getting on this huge catfish trying to stop it from shaking. But not all the catfish are bad. Some help people after the earthquake. So there's, again, this sort of a idea that we don't quite understand how this works, how this catfish world works. But we can't just immediately think that all catfish are bad, because some are good. And we humans just don't understand how it works. This Choju Jinbutsuga Giga is known to be one of the first manga culture. It was created between 12th and 13th century, and it was done by many artists, adding on to the scrolls. As you can see in the scrolls, the animals and other insects acting like human beings. There are at least 23 scrolls, and there are many stories taking place at once in each scroll. Some stories depict animals acting like humans, others capture animals and human communicating and engage in a game of chess or in debates. There are even imaginary animals portrayed also. So then there are yokai. Some of you might have heard this yokai culture in Japan. Yokai are strange apparitions, supernatural monsters, spirits in Japan folklores, and they are still very much part of Japanese culture today. Some yokai are animals taking shape of human and harm humans. Some just scare people, but not all of them are bad. And some look like animal, we know. And some of them just exist in a strange forms. They do enter our world often and cause problems or help us in many cases, but many of them never cross our worlds. So for thousands of years, people in Japan accepted certain mysterious phenomena like earthquake, death, or luck as something we don't need to understand. Disasters and tragedies or fortunate event happen beyond our control and happen regardless of our bad behaviors or good deeds. We're not the master of the world, not the only world in existence. Maneki Neko beckons luck and good fortune for us all, but perhaps they're also trying to remind us to be humble and to stop dwelling on misfortunes or taking credit for luck, and to stay open enough to let a cat guide you when faced with hardest of times.
Cool, thank you. Thank you so much. So you remember we asked you at the beginning of the talk, we're about halfway through, a little bit further, and we're wondering if you have to share with us a Maneki Neko that you might have at home, or a lucky object that you want to show us. So let's give you a few minutes to go get it. Do you have one, Junichi? I'll show my Maneki Neko here. I have a golden one, and then I have a very, very tiny one. Oh, what do you have there?
This is a little lucky charm pouch with a wolf drawn on it. This is from one of the my hometown shrine.
Okay. I see Max has is that a cat? Yeah, probably. Anybody else showing us a charm? Another Maneki Neko, Rhonda.
Mine is from China, but and it's made out of rose quartz.
Oh wow!
Wonderful.
Oh wow, that's a golden cat.
Benji, what you show?
Do you want to talk about it?
Great.
This was displayed in our restaurant, which we owned for 18 years.
Wow.
It was there from the previous owner, so I would say it's probably now at least 25 years old. I don't
Wow.
know the translation of the characters on it though. It's supposed to have some significant meaning for life.
Great.
And the business card holder.
Oh, and this is a more modern one. It's a business card holder.
Oh, great.
So it's been adapted, right? Who else would like to share your lucky object?
I think Kate has one.
Uh-huh. Kate, you want to tell us about it? Caroline, too?
Okay. This one, I'm not sure how long I have had this one. I had a business about 20 years ago, and I knew at that time that the Beckoning Cat brought in prosperity and money. And I used to go to craft fairs, and I would have this in my booth, although it had nothing to do with what I was selling. It was there to be for prosperity. And now I'm retired, so I have it in my window. And before all the quarantining, it was there to bring people to visit, but I don't know now. It's still in my window.
Well, it's bringing good things.
Mm-hmm.
Caroline, you want to share with us?
Sure, I can't find my Maneki Neko, but I love these Portuguese. These are also, I think it's called the Barcelos. I don't know if I'm saying that right, rooster, but they're supposed to be the good luck charms in Portugal. So same, you know, an animal that signifies good luck. So, and I love the painting details on them. Yeah.
Great.
Great, they're beautiful. Anyone else?
Christy.
So I picked up this one. Actually, we were looking for something in the secondhand shop a long time ago, just other things like cooking ware and things like that. And I saw this just sitting there, and I was just like, I have to have it because I work at Mingei, and of course I have to have that. So there it was, just sitting there in a very like just odd shop. We were there shopping for completely other things, and it was just a very random thing. And I was like, well, I'm certainly meant to have this. I love it. So I've had it for many years.
Great.
All right, so let's go back a little bit to the presentation. This is more my portion. Can you go back one slide, Junichi, please? Yep. He's the official slide turner. There you go. Yep. So this slide is is from the exhibition that Mingei has at Japanese Friendship Garden, and we'll talk about that towards the end of the presentation. But this one here, I really found it fascinating and as a hybrid message in visual communication. I didn't grow up how a symbol can take on different forms. I come from Mexico, and you know, in Mexico, we take a skull and we stick a flower hat and we dance with it, right? So it's, why not Maneki Neko? It's something that is very familiar to my culture too, and I'm sure to other ones. So if we think of Maneki Neko as a message, how it starts with a presentational form as a cat that is not really beckoning, but is cleaning its face, and that's already considered an image to be captured, and then it's turned into a representational object, which is, you can say it's a Maneki Neko or not. It also comes from the Mingei collection, but it's more realistic. And you start to go further until you have this other porcelain beautiful cat that is more symbolic. So right now it's different from the presentational, it's a symbol by itself. And in Japanese culture, good luck charms are called engimonos. They're meant to attract different things. And in this case, it's luck, customers, visitors, or money. can you go on to the next one, please?
Yep.
So in this one, you have to think that for Maneki Neko to become a message that can be appropriated, can be changed, can be transformed, it has to follow a certain path, certain transformation, right? So we go in design, we go from representational objects to iconic objects, which is the one on the right, and we start stripping it from detail until we arrive to this very basic shape. Can I have the next one? And this is from what Junichi has told you until the Maneki Nekos that we can buy today. It's really a journey that has been affected by history, by craft, by superstition, economics, art, technology, and something that started as a story turned into a myth, and then it ends up to being a symbol, an icon, and then a paradigm and a stereotype. And I'll talk a little bit about these last two, which are, they sound a little bit like a mouthful, but they really are what Maneki Neko has become in our culture. So all of these that you see, they represent exactly that. So when you, the paradigm, it really refers to the form, right? We all have this ideal form that is recurrent, is very stable, it's always the same. And then you have the stereotype, and the stereotype relates to the meaning. We're always going to think of it as an Asian talisman that represents luck, but it can go further, like thinking some people have the stereotype that it only belongs in restaurants, or that only superstitious people have it, or that only people who like knickknacks have it. So it can have different kinds of stereotypes, and that is when one object starts to represent a whole group of people. And not all stereotypes are negative. Stereotypes are very useful in communication, and we as designers, we use them all the time because they are agreed on. They are forms that are very recognizable and that share meaning with a large group of people. Can we have the next one? So this is really the paradigm or the basic shape of the Maneki Neko that we created or made as an icon for us to use by this person. Tomimoto Chika around 19 started to be mass produced. So they weren't produced by the temples that were dedicated to them, but in general by industries. So you have, it's always going to have a raised paw. It's going to have these markings that represent the Calico Cat, a koban or coin, a bell, which sometimes it's could be a gem too. A bib, which is usually the place where it can be personalized. It can be used as a place where you can make it your own, and then have a color. So this is a very basic shape. And this basic shape is the start of what designers, we work with these paradigms to create systems, right? So if we go to the next slide. And this is a system. It's another photograph by Ron from the museum. And this photograph is from what's exhibited at the Japanese Friendship Garden from the Mingei collection. And you can see all these cats, they are connected not only by their form, but by their material, their expression. There's small variables in their colors, but they are part of this system. And we as designers, we use systems to communicate and to work with others. Can I have the next? So color design also is a great codifier, and it's a great also vehicle for meaning and for emotion, right? So you have Maneki Nekos of all different sizes. You have white ones representing happiness, and purity, black ones to ward off evil spirits, gold for wealth and prosperity, red ones to protect you against evil, pink ones, I don't think I've ever seen a pink one, for love and relationship, green for good health and academic success. I should get my daughter one of those. And the Calico Cats, which are the most typical ones that represent luck, wealth, and prosperity. So here is another cute little grouping from the exhibition, showing you the cats in their different colors. And again, you can see in the bibs how they are, they were personalized. All of these cats are the ones, most of the ones that you see in the exhibit, with the exception of the stone ones, they are ceramic cats that are made with molds and then painted. But there's certain really unique characteristics about this collection. It's a small part of a really large collection that the Mingei Museum has. The collection at the museum is 160 cats, and this is just a small sampling. It was donated by one person, and who was completely enamored with these lucky charms. And you will see there from all kinds of styles and sizes. Some of them are they come from very important kilns in Japan. And you will see all this in detail if you go to the show. Kilns are ceramic sites in Japan. So these are not commercial cats, but they really are the precursors of what we know now that we can buy in Amazon, for example. Can we see the next one? So Maneki Neko, if you Google Maneki Neko, which I spent a lot of time doing that for this project, you're gonna find all kinds of Maneki Neko. And as designers, sometimes it's a good to read what's into these messages that we find. And Maneki Neko has been transformed in many different ways. And one of the most important ones that I found was by addition. So to this base design, different things were added to bring out other traits. So you have the cool Maneki Neko with glasses and tattoos, or the cute Maneki Neko with flowers and sparkly eyes, or the Mexican one sort of meets Maneki Neko meets Dia de los Muertos, right? Or the scary Halloween Maneki Neko. So in all of them, the meaning is still there. We still see Maneki Neko. It could still function as a lucky charm. Some of them are a little borderline, but even the scary one, I think it would still work. Now the ones on the right, that's when it's a transformation just by imitation, right? So you see some traits by reference. In the Tom and Jerry one, it's more about irony. So there's a reference, but the meaning is not there. I doubt that this would work as a talisman, and but the reference, you can see it. It's always the paw is the most important one. So the one on the top is a Lego Maneki Neko, and then the one in the bottom is a cross between a Ninja Turtle and a Maneki Neko. Can we see the next one? So also it can be used also as a commodity, right? And commerce has been in charge of doing this. And basically it's taken as an icon that is printed or embroidered on everything, right? So it doesn't matter what it means. Some people might wear it and don't even know what it means. They just react to liking it, to it being cute, to it being funny, to maybe loving cats. But it really, at this point, the meaning of it as a talisman doesn't really matter as much. Can we have the next one? And so this is the other form in which it can be transformed. It can be transformed through technology, and Junichi has already shown you this one and how it's a solar powered cat. And I had a good time reading the reviews for this. People are happy to have it because it works. It has a little solar panel, you put it next to a window and it moves its hand, and it's a cute thing to have there working for you, right? But there's the connection to it again as a good luck charm. It's getting further and further away. You can buy it for $10 and buy it through the internet. Can we go on to the next? So we hope that this presentation has piqued your interest on Maneki Neko and may want to make you go and see the show at the Japanese Friendship Garden. So the garden is open now. These are some images from the exhibit. It's a small show, so you can very, very easily see it on your way to see the garden at the bottom. The Mingei right now is closed for a transformation, as you might know, but the museum has been choosing satellite locations to host exhibitions, and this is one. So I really recommend that you attend and think about everything that I hope you have learned in this presentation. So Junichi, what do you think if we open it up for questions? We have about 8 more minutes. Yeah. Let's see, let's look at the chat. Let's see, beautiful Maneki Nekos, love it. Oh. So another known cultural icon related to the cat is Hello Kitty. Is there a relationship to Maneki Neko? Oh, good question. So it turns out that Hello Kitty is not a cat. Hello Kitty is meant to be a little girl. So really, there is no direct relationship. The form could be similar, the large head and the ears, but really there is no direct relationship between the two. And also you have to think that Maneki Neko evolved from a legend. It really, as Junichi told us, has had a very long history, whereas Hello Kitty was created by Sanrio, right? It's a commercial product that was born in the 70s. Anyway, that's it. Anybody else? Any other questions? Junichi, did you consider designing a Maneki Neko for your shop?
No, but that would have been a good idea. Maybe my store would have been more successful if I had. But if you go to the temple, they do have if you go to Gotokuji, you can buy a blank one which you can paint too.
And something that we didn't mention was that when you have a Maneki Neko in Japan, you're supposed to bring it back to the temple, right? So there must be all kinds of personalized designs there.
The question.
Is there a specific meaning to Maneki Neko waving versus not waving? I know the history claims the Maneki Neko was waving, but any symbolism behind it?
I think there was also a theory that Maneki Neko started from this olden belief that when you find a cat washing its face like cat does, it brings a good luck. And the story evolved, and people started to believe that the higher the cat's hand was, the more luck it would bring. So it may be that it didn't necessarily start this way, but it was the cats act as the cat always do, washing their face. So I think the waving probably came much later, and probably people started to add that story to this older belief.
You're gonna love this question. I hope you have an answer, Junichi. I have a Maneki Neko in my office. Should I feed it?
You should probably give it water though, actually. A lot of people put water next to the Maneki Neko as showing a sign of thank you, appreciation. I've seen people do that.
And don't ever throw a Maneki Neko in the trash. It's bad luck. All right. Is there any difference in meaning dependent on the material the Maneki Neko is made out of?
I think it's more about the history. When the Maneki Neko first originated, it seemed like it was made for the personal use, personal charm. So a lot of them are made one of a kind, hand carved out of wood, hand carved out of the stone. But then people figured out how to mass produce things using mold. And that's when I think the ceramics version became wildly popular. And when that happened, it became sort of a commodity, and a lot of shop owners and the business owners started to use it rather than sort of a personal charm that you hold close to you.
And the colors, I would say, are more representative of meaning than material. Of course, there's a belief the more money you spend on it, the more luck you're going to have. And you also see many Maneki Neko being passed, like some of our people in our audience said, well, I had a business and it was there, so I kept it. Transferring it from person to person also, it's a way of adding meaning to it. Do you have a favorite in the exhibition? This is from Susan Merritt, who has also been a great collaborator for Design Week. Hi, Susan. Do you have a favorite one? I think ours is the same.
Yeah, I think we picked this this one, right?
Yeah, the one that looks like your uncle, you say. Yeah, no, the other one, the wooden one. That's that one. Yeah, that's my favorite too. What days and times is the exhibit open? I don't have it right now, but Natalie, if you go to the Japanese Friendship Garden, it's at the same times as the garden is open. And you'll get into the exhibit with the same ticket that you buy for visiting the garden. So you can make a whole afternoon of it. It's really, really lovely. Anybody else? Other questions? Thank you, Susan. Taiki, thank you. Well, I think that we finished just in time. It's 2 o'clock. Thank you all for attending. Yunichi, you want to close off with a few remarks?
Thank you. I hope you can start to appreciate Maneki Neko, not just as a way to make money to your pocket, but as an appreciation for this unknown world that exists among us.
Thank you all for attending, and stay tuned for the rest of San Diego Design Week.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Meow.
Bye, thank you. Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.